Hello creators, how are you guys? It's great to hang out with you again here on, Tuesday if you're listening to the podcast and iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, all the places. But we do live stream these also at youtube.com/video creators every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is what we are doing right now. For those of you guys who are listening live here, participating in the chat, what I want to do with you guys here today is talk about playlists. Now, playlists are one of those things, it's a feature on YouTube that is very underutilized. I mean, playlist is such an essential tool that we have to get people to watch a bunch of our videos. But most people, and I've done, actually counted up, I've done consultations with almost 700 creators. The majority of them are using playlists ineffectively, I'd say. They're not using them wrong necessarily. There's a lot of different ways you can use playlists, but what I want to do with you guys today is walk you through a strategy of how using playlists can really get you a lot more watch time, get you a lot more views, make your videos a lot more discoverable, and make it easier for you to reach the goals that you have for your channel. So it'll be a pretty quick conversation in terms of strategy here, and then I want to spend most of our time hanging out with you guys, answering your questions, and helping you guys really use playlists to their full benefit and their full potential based on the questions that you guys have here in the live chat. And for those of you who listen to the podcast recording later, you can always tweet me at Tim Schmoyer, and I'll do my best to answer your questions as much as I can there as well. And yes, Olivia Dreams, I do see the chat. I think sometimes people are like, is he actually live streaming or is this pre-recorded? No, this is actually live. It is really live. So good to see all of you guys, Be Adventures and Partners, Brian and Aaron. Good to see you guys, and Bonsana and Simply Mayte and Unleashed Pleb and Diana and Gianni's Family Adventures and all of you guys. So let's talk about, leave your questions in the chat. I assume Laura, my producer, is here, and she'll be putting those questions in front of me. We'll dive into them here in a second. But first of all, let's talk about how to actually use these playlists. Now, one of the things that where most creators go wrong with playlists is that they use them primarily as a way of organizing content. Kind of like, like if you're familiar with WordPress, for example, they use playlists kind of like WordPress categories, in the sense of like, these are all my cooking videos, these are all my vlogs, these are my games, right? Or these are all the videos around this topic, and these are all the videos around that topic, and that's not necessarily a wrong way to use them, but there's a better way to use them, okay? In terms of viewership and getting more watch time and things like that. So if you look at your traffic sources and in YouTube Analytics, and you sort them by your average view duration. In other words, we want to see like which traffic source gets us the most valuable and least valuable viewer. And by valuable, we're determining that based on how much time they spend watching one of our videos. So average view duration per viewer, where are we getting the most watch time per viewer from? And if you're doing this you're doing this right, you should be, by far, your number one and number two traffic sources in terms of average view duration should be playlists and end screens. And I'll talk about end screens more in a future live stream with you guys, but today we're focusing on playlists. And the reason those are number one and number two, if you're doing them well, is because those are the only tools you guys have for really influencing the viewer session. And if you guys remember, one of the things that YouTube really likes and what they look for in terms of discoverability on your channel is looking at not only what videos do people come back to YouTube looking for, but what do they actually watch when they're here, as measured in watch time. And then the third thing is what videos contribute to the longest viewing session. What videos keep people on YouTube the longest? And so we can influence that by the way we use end cards, and even playlists. Now, I want to talk about a few different ways to use them, but what I want first is before we get into the tactics of how we actually do it, and the goal of the playlist is not necessarily just to optimize content. The goal of the playlist is to, organize content. It is to organize content, but it is primarily, think about it this way, to get someone to watch one video, and then another video, and then another video and another video and another video, right? Like we can actually control to some extent. I mean, they can always abandon the playlist, but we can kind of set forth for them, these are the videos that we think you should watch in the order that we think you should watch them. And when you do this well and you start optimizing your playlist for viewer retention, you can see your watch time really grow and increase without it getting one single additional viewer, which is awesome, right? So you don't have to work extra hard to get more views. What we're talking about here is how do we better engage and keep the viewers we already have? It's just like from a business perspective, right? Rather than go out and try to get more and more customers, what if we could just hold on to the customers we actually do have? That's much easier to do and costs a lot less money, and we get to serve someone better long term that way. So when you do your playlists, think about them in terms of optimizing them for the viewing session. Now, a couple of things might go into that. Number one, maybe you're thinking like, okay, well, that might mean I'm not going to make them super long, right? It's not going to be like all of my vlogs are in this one playlist and there's 220 of them in that playlist. I mean, if someone clicked on that video, they would just be like running their fingers through their hair, thinking like, I do not have time to sit here and watch 220 videos, right? And you just think about it, your experience. Would you sit there and watch 220 videos? No. But what if I gave you like a really optimized playlist? They only have like 3, 4, maybe 6 short videos in them. And I said, these are all the videos you need to watch to get this specific value. You'd be like, oh, okay, 3, 4, 6, maybe even 8. If they're all really short, like I have time for that. And the viewer will be much more likely to actually get into that playlist, click, watch one video, next video, next video. So principle number 1 is to make sure that your playlists are consumable. Principle number 2 is to make sure that they're titled in an enticing way. Like, don't default to just titling your playlist like you would a category of content. Title them the same way you would a video, which is pitch value, tease value, and in a way that gets people to like click and want to get into that playlist and watch the value that the title is pitching and getting them to really watch. Okay. And then the third thing is now you want to start featuring these playlists everywhere you can. Feature them as interactive cards when it's appropriate for the content that you're displaying. Put them on your end screens. Get people to click. When you share a video, share it within the playlist, right? Whenever you have an opportunity to do so, get them into that playlist. Sometimes when I link, the way you link to them in a playlist, by the way, is just go to your playlist, and then inside your playlist, click the video. That URL at the top is that video inside the playlist. So you'll see the normal like watch and then video ID in there, and then you'll see an and then playlist equals ID, and then you have the playlist ID. That's when that video will be played inside of that playlist, or that video will be played inside of that playlist. Is that what I said? I lost my train. I'm trying to read the chat at the same time. And so then when someone's watching that video, you're putting them right into playlist mode. The next video can automatically play for them, and they can get much easier from one video to the next to the next. So link to those in the description. If you're going to email it out or share it on social media, share the playlist version of that, okay? And the real magic comes here then when you're featuring those playlists on the end screen, which I want to talk about here in the future and maybe next week or two. But it's like get people in those playlists and get those people who have already said, I'm going to watch for a little while, get them into another video, and into another video using those playlists. And when you do that, you're going to start getting a lot more watch time and a lot more viewership, and make your videos a lot more discoverable, because YouTube's starting to learn like, hey, if we present this video to a viewer, they're going to stay on YouTube longer. They're going to watch more content, and they're going to watch they're going to watch this whole series of videos. Now, the next thing that happens is really good for you guys, actually, is the more you use playlists to do this, and the more there's a correlation between your one video and then 3 or 4 other videos in that playlist that people are actually watching, the more likely those videos are to be suggested to your main video, even for people who aren't in the playlist, because YouTube starts seeing that there's a high click-through rate, there's a high correlation between people who like this video and then watch these other 2, 3, 4 videos of yours. And because of that user behavior, Google will start to make your videos more likely to be suggested next to your own. Okay, so you get lots of benefits from using these playlists. I've gone through them really, really quick, but this is a really important way. Now, there's a good question I just see here. in the chat, and I do want to jump into your questions here. So let's do that in a second, because I want to spend most of the time helping you guys out with playlists. But Gina's Bizarro's Ghost says, I don't understand why playlists are important. I thought our channels were about our videos. I don't even know what to do with or about my playlist. It's just there. I'm being honest. Good. I love honesty. Thank you, Gina. So coming back to what I just said, the goal of the playlist is to get people to watch more of your videos. And yes, your playlist, when you say you thought our channels were about our videos, they can be. And you can have a playlist that is just 100% your videos. But it doesn't have to be necessarily. You can have playlists that have other people's videos in them as well. And again, the goal isn't necessarily, there's two goals. One, to get people to watch more of your videos. So most people do make their playlists only of their own content, but you don't have to. If you use playlists instead to optimize the viewing session for people, here's this video from this other creator. It's not mine, but if they watch my video, they're going to really want to watch this next video from this other creator. And then maybe two other people, then my video again, or something. Like, you can mix and match, and your videos still benefit, because even though you're sending more watch time to someone else's video, your original video is the one that's increasing the viewing session. And that is really important for discoverability on YouTube. What videos are holding people's attention, keeping them here longer. And so you can have playlists with other people's stuff, and it can perform just as well as helping your first video. So let's get into some of your questions. Hopefully I went through that for you guys quickly enough and didn't speed through it too fast. You guys are just kind of scratching your heads. Haunted Road Media is a member of Video Creators. Thank you, Mike, for hanging out here and your support. He asked, should we be front-loading playlists with the highest retention videos? Great question. That leads me actually into, let's talk about how to optimize these. I think maybe, Mike, if you give you some liberty to kind of flex with your question a little bit. It's like, should we be front-loading playlists with the highest retention videos? So that could be good. The goal there would be the videos that perform the best. Let's put our best foot forward, and you certainly can do that. Sometimes retention, though, is dependent on the video they just watched before. So it's not, sometimes it is about that individual video, but sometimes it's like the retention is way higher if there's something like a piece of content or information or something that's in a previous video that they watched that's really got them intrigued, and now they want to learn more, right? So the way I would think about optimizing playlists is in your analytics. And this is in Classic. I'm sure it's probably in beta. I can't do YouTube Studio beta off the top of my head. Like Classic, I know that thing like back of my hand. I got every single like checkbox and drop down menu and everything memorized. And I'm not quite there yet with Studio beta. But if you're in Classic, the way you would optimize your playlist is in the upper left corner of YouTube Analytics. There's a little drop down menu. And by default, it just says videos. And that's where most people stay. They just stay in video land analyzing their videos. But if you click on it, the drop-down menu, now there's an option there for playlists. And it's beautiful. You click on playlists, and now all of your data and all of your analytics now applies to playlists. Most people spend most of the time just looking at the video side, and that's fine. But I want you guys to maybe experiment and start digging into the playlist analytics. And the main thing I want to point you to for our conversation is to switch it to playlists, and then the left sidebar, click on watch time, and then you'll see a window with like some graphs and charts and stuff at the top. Scroll down a little bit, you'll start seeing a list of some of your playlists, or you can just use the search bar at the top and just type in the name of a playlist that you're curious about. Either way, go to a playlist, click on one at the bottom, or type the name of the playlist at the top, and then you're going to see a list of all those videos that are in that playlist. If you look all the way to the right of that list, of that column, the last column there is called playlist exit rate. And the exit rate tells you exactly, this is how people respond to this video when they're watching it inside a playlist. And it gives you the percentage of how many people abandoned your playlist because of that video or when watching that video in that playlist. And so the goal there is to start optimizing your playlist by taking out the videos that have a high abandonment rate and maybe inserting other ones that could potentially have a lower abandonment rate, or rearranging the videos. Now, I know you'd probably expect to see that the first video is like 0 abandonment rate and the last one is 100 abandonment rate, because like 100% of the people who got to the end abandoned the playlist, which makes sense, right? It's not quite as straightforward as that. It's a lot more jumping around. There's people skip ahead into other videos. They don't necessarily watch them always in sequential order. But you can still really use that as really valuable information to be like, hey, if 100% of the people who watch this video abandon the playlist, like, let's take that video out or push it down to the end or something. And you can start optimizing then your playlist and thus that viewer's viewing session in a way that reduces the bounce rate, reduces abandonment, gets you more watch time on more videos. And there's a lot of work that goes into optimizing it that way, but that is absolutely a really fantastic tool that YouTube provides that you guys can use to further optimize your playlist. Emo and Izzy Vlogs. I wonder, as a vlogging channel, if it's odd to categorize videos by subject when the viewer will be experiencing big leaps through time when watching due to chronological nature of the vlog. Can you give me some practical examples of playlist categories for vlogging channels? Yeah, good question. So I agree. Making a playlist based on subject, I mean, unless that's really tied to the value proposition of your channel for someone in your target audience, like, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless people, and you can certainly do it. Like, for example, on our family vlogging channel, we can have homeschooling vlogs, but we don't just title it homeschool vlogs, right? We title that's, I forget what we call it, but something like we've been homeschooling for 8 years or something like that. I don't forget what it is. But so the way I would use playlists instead on a vlogging channel is actually title them after different seasons of life or story arcs, whichever you want to use, either way. So let's say, for example, my wife and I are getting ready to buy a house, for example. Maybe that would be a whole story arc. And for a season of life, that is what your vlogs are about. It's about, are we going to get this house, this dream house of ours, or not? And so it doesn't have to be long. I don't know how many videos that would span, but maybe it's 2 videos, maybe it's 10 videos, right? And so the season of life would be one playlist. And then maybe there's another story arc going on where you're pregnant and the baby's coming in 9 months, and there's all the preparing and all of the getting ready to introduce another baby to your family. That would be another story arc, another playlist. And then the baby comes, and this is actually all true story for us. And then like in our case, our youngest daughter, we had 7 kids in 8 years. Our oldest is 9, and our youngest is 1. And our youngest, when she was born with a cataract in her left eye, born blind in that eye, never finished developing. And so in her first year of life, she had 3 surgeries. And so another playlist could be, a journey to restoring Livia's eyesight. And that could be a season of life playlist as well. So think about, again, it comes back to the goal of using playlists to get people to watch one video and another video and another video. And if that means doing them by subjects, that, maybe there's some people who want that. But more than likely on a vlog type of channel, it's going to be more of a narrative type of content. And people are more interested in following a certain story. As long as you're telling the story well, it's creating intrigue and asking people to be like, oh, what happens next? Oh, what happens next? Like, oh, how does the story end? That's what's going to keep them going from one video to the next, especially on a vlogging type of channel. No Jesus, no peace says, how can we rearrange existing playlists? Move the most productive videos to first place? Yeah, and that kind of comes back to the optimization thing that I said in terms of optimizing content inside the actual playlist. Now, there's another way to rearrange playlists, though, and maybe this is what, I don't think this is what you're referring to, but the other way to rearrange playlists is on your front of your channel page. If you go straight to your channel, I recommend having playlists there that continue to pitch your channel to someone in your target audience. So, for example, most people find me, video creators, because they're searching for how to do something on YouTube. And so when someone comes to my channel, then they're like, oh, this was like, a couple video. I learned how to get more views or subs or money or whatever on YouTube. and let's check out this channel. And so they're looking at the front of my channel wondering, should I subscribe? What else has this guy got? And I know from my analytics, between 30 to 40% of my subscribers come from that subscribe button on the front of my channel. And you can look that up yourself just by going to your analytics and looking at subscribers, and you can find out how that button's performing. But with 30 to 40% coming from that one subscribe button, like, I want to optimize the front of my channel for getting people to subscribe. And so the way I do that is by evaluating my channel art there, my header image that kind of pitches my value prop to my target audience, and the channel trailer. But below that, now you have playlists that you can rearrange and organize. And so my first playlist, based on knowing what my audience is looking for and how they found me, is recent how-to videos. And so I'm showing people, like, hey, you're looking for how to do stuff on YouTube? I'm regularly, consistently, I've got new how-to videos coming out all the time. So I lead with that. I don't lead necessarily with my most recent videos, most popular videos or something. I'm focusing on pitching the value of my channel as opposed to look how popular this one video is. That may or may not even be related to the rest of my content, right? We all have those videos too. We're like, why did that video go big? And so and then my second playlist, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I can go look. My second playlist is, I think it's how to, I know my audience also wants to know for, pro tips for growing your channel's views and subscribers. So I got some of my best videos about growing views and subscribership in my next playlist. Next one there is video SEO tips for ranking videos and search results. Got that one there, my best content for that. I know my audience wants to know, how do I get 1 million subscribers? And so I'm featuring the How They Got 1 Million Subscribers seasons there for people to click into, and things like that. So it's using your playlist even on the front of your channel as a way of further pitching your value proposition. You're not necessarily going to get everyone to click through and watch all those videos. It's more of a messaging thing. What impression am I leaving in the mind of my viewer if they were to come and just kind of glance through my channel? What does all this communicate to them? And I think that rearranging playlists on the front of your channel can be helpful in converting viewers into subscribers as well. Good question. Spain Revealed James Blick asked, should we always add new videos to the front of the playlist? No. I mean, if you've started working on lowering the exit rate of your playlist and you're optimizing your videos and rearranging them, putting a video at the front, like, that might have high abandonment. You don't yet know how that video will perform, So if you've never optimized a playlist before, you're kind of approaching this for the first time, I would put them in order of what makes the most sense for the viewer to watch. If you're like, okay, knowing what I know about this content, which video is going to really hook them, get them interested, or introduce them to the story that they're about to go through or whatever, and put it in a logical fashion. But just because it's your most recent video doesn't mean that it should be first in the playlist by any means. It could be in the middle, it could be the end. You might add it to a playlist and see that, like, this video actually has a higher than normal abandonment rate. I'm going to take this video out of the playlist, even though the video might fit in that playlist as a part of that topic. Now, that might be harder to do from a narrative perspective, but when it's like topical or educational, again, the goal of the playlist is not to put your most recent video forward. It's to get someone to watch one video, then the next, and another, and whatever you need to do with your playlists and your videos to make that happen is the goal here. Esperantinado Variety Show. Sorry, I know I butchered that. Is it okay to have the same video in several playlists? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If there's a video that's performing well across several different playlists, put them in different playlists. Now, to get into kind of like, there's a little option. If you make your playlist and you're looking at it at the top, if you're logged in as that channel, there's a button that says playlist settings. If you click on that button, there's a little checkbox inside there that makes it a series playlist. And so you can only, to answer your question about having same video in several playlists, you can only have one video. One video can only be in one series playlist. It can be in as many different playlists as you like, but it can only be in one series playlist. And so a series playlist has a couple different functions to it. It used to be more effective than it used to be, than it is today. But the way it used to work is once you put a video into a series playlist that had that little checkbox marked in the playlist settings, you're essentially telling YouTube that these videos are intended to be watched in a sequential order. So it's like episodic, for example, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Like, you can't just watch these as one-off videos. You need to kind of watch them in order. And that's still how I would think about using that tool today. And that's why they're like, yeah, you don't need to have multiple episode 2s, right? So why would you need a video to be in more than one series playlist? And so that's essentially how it was intended to work. Now, in my experience, it doesn't work that same way anymore. It still makes the next video be in the playlist be more likely to be the watch next video or the top suggested video next to it, but it doesn't have that same like, yes, that's the way it's going to be, and as it used to. And so I still use it that way just because seems like it makes it more likely, but there's no guarantee. So to answer your question, yes, you can have the same video in several playlists. And we got Justin Brown for Primal Video and Nick Niven in the house. Good to see you guys. Thanks for hanging out. It's fun to see you guys. We should get you guys on here sometime. It'd be more fun to do this with other people than just me. So if you guys agree, give a thumbs up in the chat. Including Justin and Nick. You guys do it too. Okay, so No Jesus, No Peace also asks, so should we mix popular videos into our playlist to increase our video's presence in suggested lists? Correct? No, it doesn't work that way. It's purely based on the viewer engagement with videos in the playlist. So it doesn't mean that just because you have popular videos in there, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteeing that those videos are going to be more like the lower view videos, or more likely to become more suggested to the popular video, unless someone's watching that popular video in that playlist and then watching the next 2 or 3 videos after that, then yes. But there's nothing about the view count on the video that makes a playlist and the subsequential videos in there perform or not perform or whatever. Looks like we're getting a bunch of thumbs up, so it might need to be a thing, Justin and Nick. We'll make it happen. Okay, so Spain Revealed, James Blick also asked, should we be using the series playlist function? Oh, look at that. Already answered that one. Cool. Whether you should or not kind of depends on the nature of the content, and if you think that is your content's supposed to be episodic or sequential, then yeah, go ahead and use it. Jonathan and Lexi, when should you start making playlists? Should you make a playlist every video? Should playlists be titled with a searchable title? Again, it comes back to the goal of the playlist. I don't think there's anything that says you should be making one playlist every time you make a video. I think it's a good practice to have a lot of different playlists that aren't super long but are very consumable and very specific in nature, so that it's more likely that when people watch the first video or get into that playlist that they're going to watch a few more videos after that. But I don't think that you need to create a playlist at like a regular frequency or something on your channel to keep it optimized or humming or anything like that. So I personally, I don't even know how many playlists I have, actually, to be honest. But I have enough that there's typically 1, 2, or 3 that work with almost any video that I publish that are still short and consumable to the point and hopefully deliver maximum value based on what I've seen in the analytics of how that video helps people. And then the second part of that question, should playlists be titled with a searchable title? Yes, absolutely. So not just like we said earlier, don't just name them like vlogs or cooking or whatever. It's always about it's always about like pitching the value that someone wants to consume through that playlist and making that and crafting that title in a way if someone sees it, it's like, oh, that's exactly what I need. Click, I need to watch all these videos. Now, the word searchable, that's, I would, the way to make a more searchable title is to optimize for humans, not for robots, right? So yes, keep your keywords in mind, but optimize that in a way that if someone in your target audience saw that title, would they be enticed to click and watch? that's the more important way to go rather than just kind of cramming keywords into stuff and things, which I think you understand, but just wanted to clarify that. Raxian asks, do you think there is a thing as too many playlists? I have seen some that are disorganized. Sure, yeah. If there's too many playlists, if you're just making playlists for the sake of making playlists and like there's no strategic use to half of them, you know, like these are all the videos that begin with the letter A and whatever, right? Like that's probably unnecessary. But I don't think there's any such thing as having too many well organized, optimized playlists that deliver high value, that give you an opportunity to pitch 2 or 3 playlists as interactive cards or on the end screen or in the description of almost every video that you do. So just think about making them very specific and really focused on the value that they're providing. And as long as all of them do that, I don't think you have too many. Alyssa J, how do you get your playlist to rank in search? Very good question. This is a little bit trickier, but as I understand it, there's a few things that influence getting playlists to rank. And playlists do rank. You know, for example, if you're looking for Billboard Top 100, you know, you're going to get the best, most natural result for that is a playlist of Billboard Top 100, right? Because you're kind of searching for a group of content, and those playlists obviously exist out there, and so that type of playlist would rank for that. And so it's a few things I found. One is that the title and thumbnail of that playlist are relevant to what the person is searching for, actually typed in. And I don't mean keyword matching, I mean user intent. That's how YouTube has worked actually since 2011. It's not about keyword matching, it's about user intent. So if you search for Billboard Top 100, you might get results titled music videos as well, right? And it makes sense. It's aligned with the user intent, even though there's no keyword matching between Billboard Top 100 and music videos. It's a relevant result. And so, but keywords still matter because the viewer types something in and they're expecting to see certain words. That's how language works. Like the words represent things that we mean. And so they type in something, they're expecting to see certain words. And that might have a higher click-through rate because of the human element, not because of the keyword matching element. And then having an enticing title, just like a video, you know, so these are the same principles that tie to video. The playlist should have a good description also. So at the top of your playlist, there's a little box it says click to add description. You click, type in your description just like you would in a normal video. Again, keeping your keywords in mind, but writing them out in normal conversational English. And then really optimizing like those videos that for the viewing session in that playlist. All that's the kind of stuff that you can influence. Now, the last part that influences how a playlist ranks in search is the one that's more or less outside your control, and that is like the click-through rate. That is when YouTube's like, if we actually surface this playlist for the search, will people click and watch? And if there's a yes, and enough people are doing that, then your playlist will rank. But if, just like a video, you want it to be highly searchable, but not enough people are clicking and watching and giving that video enough watch time to kind of beat out the competition for that search query, then just like that video won't rank, neither will that playlist, right? So the principles are all kind of the same for a playlist as they are for video. Jay Chalent, is there a size limit you would recommend for a playlist before starting a new playlist with similar content as your content becomes better produced? If you mean by size, like how many videos should be in that playlist, not really. I mean, if let's say you have a video that's titled like, I don't know, how to make money on YouTube, and you have like 5 like really just powerful, awesome videos in there that people watch. Is like they get crazy value, you get good watch time and all that kind of stuff. Then if you make another video that could fit that playlist, you could add it to the end and see how it performs. You could go then into the playlist and take out the video that's not performing and keep your new one in there. Or you might see like, hey, this video was intended to be a part of this playlist, but it's just causing abandonment from the playlist. The playlist exit rate on this video is too high, and just take it out. Or you might say maybe it gets too long. Maybe you start getting to like, oh, these are like 10 really long videos in this and they're all really good. But I can kind of see that like these 3 are more about like first time people who want to make money on YouTube, like people who are just starting out. And these other 7 videos are really for people who already have a channel going. And so then just split the playlist into 2 and kind of just making each playlist more specific so that when someone who wants that value sees that playlist, they're even more likely to click through. And so maybe I'm going to keep the original one, like how to make money on YouTube for established creators. And then the next other playlist, the new one with the 3 videos I took out of the long one, might be how to make money on YouTube for beginner creators, for example, right? So that's how I would approach that. Sarah Dawn asked, I export my Twitch videos to YouTube as a form of archive and for replay value. Would be a monster huge video playlist? Any suggestions on how to break that up? Yeah, so if you're bringing gaming video, I'm assuming it's gaming. I mean, I'm just going to make that assumption with Twitch, although that's not necessarily a fair one all the time. But exporting your Twitch videos to YouTube and just archiving them from Twitch onto YouTube. You know, I had to see your content, but I would think of like, what are the main things that my audience wants from me? What would they be watching these for? And then just kind of splitting that value up into different playlists. So, for example, maybe it's like all your best highlights are going to be in one playlist. Maybe you're going to make a playlist on your YouTube channel like, hey, new to Sarah Dawn, start here. And it's just like a playlist. It's just like, if you've never watched anything from me before, these videos I feel like are the ones that are going to represent me the best. Watch these games first, or these replays or whatever first. You could do it that way. You can, and I do think it's necessary. You could do this like, especially as a gamer, split it up based on the game, or the ones that are funny, or the ones that are strategic, or the ones that are most surprising, or whatever the case may be. Those would be other ways you could split it up. But if they're like really super long, like 6-hour streams that you're archiving, that might be hard to put into a playlist. I would probably edit those and chop those up a little bit in order for playlist consumption purposes, not necessarily for video consumption, but experiment and see what you come up with. But hopefully that helps you get started. Raxian asks, does autoplay of a video in a playlist equate to click or click through? It doesn't. Autoplay doesn't account as a user. A view on YouTube is defined by YouTube as a user-initiated playback. So autoplays are not user-initiated. They autoplay. Now, on embedded stuff, if you're having an embedded video and things, there's some tricky things to kind of look at with your analytics there. But just to answer it straightforward, an autoplay video in a playlist is not a user-initiated playback. And so it might still count as a view, but the watch time and things, it counts as a view up to a certain point. And I don't know what the threshold is, but we've just observed that after a few hundred playbacks, that the videos, that YouTube starts counting the views a little bit more seriously, and we don't know what that metric is exactly. The best guess most people have today is that it seems to be that it's around a 30-second duration, that after 30 seconds it counts as a playback, or as a view, I should say. But that's just our best guesses on that one. YouTube's never told us, and no one really knows exactly at which thresholds different videos start getting counted differently or something. Alyssa J asks again, what are the best practices for using end screens to promote playlists? Do you talk about them at the end of the video? Add text, other suggestions? Yeah, we're actually going to get into this, Alyssa, next week, I think. And it'll be fun to maybe have some other people on here with me. And then Ashley Kreis is here too. She knows tons about Twitch. You guys are in the chat. Hi, Ashley. So, Ashley, if you guys have like Twitch archive stuff, maybe she can help you guys out with that. You can ask her in the chat there. Okay, and so yeah, we'll talk more about end screens because I do want to talk about playlists on an end screen. I guess to just answer that briefly though, the best way is just kind of same principle we talk about. Make a really good playlist that's relevant to the content that someone just watched, but now takes it to the next level or goes deeper or adds more value in some way. And then on your end screen, you should actually just pitch and point and be like I don't know, let me make this up off the top of my head. Let's say I just did a video about thumbnails, okay? And I'll say, now that you know how to optimize your thumbnails for desktop, though, now you really need to know how to optimize for mobile, because mobile is more than 50% of YouTube's overall traffic. And if you don't take some mobile considerations into mind, then your videos won't work anyway. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go, right? So click this so I put together a short playlist for you guys. You can click right here. I'm pointing to it where in that space where the video, that playlist is going to be. So I put together a short playlist for you guys right here. It's only 3 videos. It's really going to walk you through the top elements you need to consider when optimizing for mobile. So click those videos and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, or something like that. So you can, that's how I would optimize and get people into those playlists and give it a good pitch. And when you start doing that, like, it's just gold. Like, you start getting someone who gets to the end of one of your videos to then click and watch a series of more videos from you as like maximum watch time, and you're increasing the viewing session and all that. Things just can really blow up as you build a library of content on YouTube that does that. Alyssa J also asked, what are your thoughts on having unlisted videos and playlists? Totally fine. So, yeah, I mean, you can totally do that. There's now the views and watch time on that video don't count publicly against your channel because the video is not public, but you can have an unlisted playlist even, actually. And for those of you who are channel members here at Video Creators, when you become a channel member, you get access to an unlisted playlist with a lot of unlisted videos. And if you click that join button, you'll kind of see that, you'll see what some of those are. There's more in-depth trainings about how to get discovered, how to make money on YouTube, and how to grow your channel and everything, and access to member-only private call-in live streams and stuff like that. And so that's how I use unlisted videos and playlists on my channel, is with those people who become channel members. So if you're not a channel member, feel free to become one, and we'd love to hang out with you guys over there. Now, it seems like Laura is telling me that a really common question you guys are asking here have absolutely nothing to do with playlists. You guys just want to know where these YouTube cushions behind me come from. I just got them off of Etsy, to be totally honest with you. This one, for you guys listening to the podcast, behind me I have red YouTube pillows, and one is the play button, the other one says subscribe on it. And YouTube doesn't sell them directly because I'm pretty sure whoever I bought them from, there's trademark issues going on with them. And so they are totally homemade and not produced anywhere that I know of. And just to be totally honest, whenever I make videos for YouTube, like when I do a collab with one of their owned and operated channels, I can't have the pillows in there because they break trademark stuff. So just a little tidbit there. I got to take the pillows out for that, but that's where I got them. So next week, you can, to answer your question, Justin, so unlisted videos don't count the same as regular videos anymore. No, they never have, actually. So if you're getting, well, it depends what you mean by count. Depends what you're counting. But watch time and views on unlisted videos don't impact your channel. They're not reflected on your public stats anywhere. So that's why you can see, like, sometimes people will have like growth. Like if you look at the Social Blade, and all of a sudden there's like this big negative spike, and somehow they lost, I don't know, 500,000 views that month. You're like, how did you have negative 500,000 views that month? That's because likely they privatized or unlisted a bunch of videos on their channel, and they unlist, and maybe those videos equaled 1 million views, and they normally get 500,000 views on their channel. And so the 1 million that they removed from their channel now makes it look like, because they still got 500,000 other views, that now they have a negative 500,000 views on their channel, right? So hopefully that makes sense. But welcome, Nick is a new member. Nick Niman is a member of the video creators. So welcome, man. Appreciate your support, and we'll have to get you and Justin and stuff on here sometime. It'd be fun. So for the rest of you guys, though, if you want to, and Ashley, thank you for becoming a member. Also, looking forward to seeing you guys in those live streams and stuff that we do. We're going to be talking next week about end screens and how to use that tool to further optimize your content, get more views, more subscribers. Because remember what I said at the beginning, the two tools that YouTube gives us that allows us to actually optimize the viewing session on YouTube are playlists and end screens. And your most valuable viewers, if you're doing them well, come from those two things. And so these are tools that you can get you don't have to get an additional viewer, but if you can get the viewers you already have into a viewing session, either through end screens or playlists, your channel can still just blow up massively because of all the additional watch time that you're getting on more content and everything. So I really want to help you guys do that. So we're going to do that, talk about the end screens as a kind of a follow-up to this next week. So subscribe if you haven't, turned on notifications in order to get that next live stream next week. If you're listening to the podcast, we go live every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time at youtube.com/video creators. So you guys can join us then. And honestly, you guys who are here in the live stream, I'm no longer making these live streams public. They just go immediately to unlisted. So I am still hanging out with you guys every week because I think it's fun to interact and hang out with you guys, and because I have I still want to keep doing the weekly podcast, but these videos become unlisted immediately. So the only way to get this content in an interactive way here on YouTube is to join our live stream. But if you miss the live stream, you still want the content, you're gonna have to get it by subscribing over to iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify, or anywhere else really that you listen to your podcast. And I know someone earlier in the chat was like, hey, I'm trying to search Spotify, but I'm having a hard time finding it. What do I search for? Last time I checked, you just search for video creators and we should just pop right up. You want to search for video creators Tim Schmoyer, it might make it more likely. No, but you can just search and find them there, and we'll have a fun time hanging out. And welcome, Eileen. Good to see you again, and welcome to becoming a member of the channel. So look forward to hanging out with you guys in our private member-only live stream call-in shows, and appreciate all of you guys who are members and all of you who moderate the chat. Thank you, Lara, for being on top of all this and getting these questions in front of me. And we look forward to hanging out with you guys next week for another Video Creators Podcast live stream recording thing. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.